Hi, my name's Marissa Hill. I'm the head of Disabled Student Support at Sheffield Hallam University, and we're here today to talk to you about the Study Ready programme at Sheffield Hallam University. I'm joined by my colleague Justine Cooper.
Hi, and I'm the Disability Transition Officer at Sheffield Hallam.
So let's start by talking a little bit about Sheffield Hallam University and our student population. So we have around 30,000 students each year that come to Sheffield Hallam University. The disclosure rate for our disabled students is around 20%, which has increased a lot over the last 10 years. We also have a lot of students that come from widening participation backgrounds, and we've been voted Social Mobility University of the Year as well this year. We are a commuter university, so a lot of our students do travel in and are within 30 miles of the university. The university is quite large. We have 3 colleges, 15 departments and over 600 courses. And in 2017, we introduced an inclusive offer when we withdrew from delivering DSA provided mentors, support and assistive technology training. So we wanted to embed that as an inclusive offer throughout the university. And that's really where the idea for the Study Ready events began. So we wanted to establish these new teams and new ways of working that didn't always require disclosure of a disability. We wanted to manage student expectations around the support that they would be getting at university. And we thought it was really important that students had a good first experience at SHU. So we know that a lot of students find it quite a daunting experience to come to university. They can be quite anxious. They can be quite worried about disclosing a disability and the support that they'll get and how different it will be from the colleges or schools that they've been to. So we really wanted to give them an opportunity to think about that and process that and get the support in place before they actually started. And it was a really good way of promoting the inclusive practice workshops and services that we had throughout the student services offer. So some of those students offer that we had was assistive technology training for all students, skills centre study skills, and mentor wellbeing sessions as well for all students, because mental health is so important when you first start university. For the service, we also wanted to manage the workload, so we were trying to mitigate some of the peaks and troughs that we have. So we know that September's really busy and we didn't want to have students waiting to get appointments or get their support in place, because we all know that getting support in place really early is the key to transition, retention and success. So Justine's going to talk through about the Study Ready events and how they worked in practice.
So we started Study Ready back in 2019, and we offered that as an on-campus event. So we invited disabled students, sent out an email to anyone that had disclosed on their UPass application or that had contacted the service. They received an email with an invitation through Eventbrite inviting them on campus. And we held 6 events through the summer at both campuses. So Sheffield Hallam has 2 campuses, City Campus, which is the biggest of the 2, and Collegiate Campus, which has got a third of the students that City has. So we did it at both campuses. We didn't have a lot of attendees for the 2019 events, but even though they were small numbers, the feedback from the people that came were really positive and really worthwhile doing the events. So what we wanted to offer was the chance for students to come onto campus and to see the types of support that they would receive whilst at university. We did it through workshops and marketplaces. So they learn about that support that they would be able to access once they started. The other thing that we did is that they had access to meet with a disability advisor or somebody from the Sheffield Regional Assessment Centre to talk about either disabled student support at Hallam or to talk about disabled student allowances. And we wanted to make sure that the people were applying for the DSA in plenty of time for them to come in September. We also had student ambassadors with us, and they had the opportunity all day to speak to disabled students that were already at Sheffield Hallam and ask them questions. And the students ran the campus tours, took them around the facilities at Sheffield Hallam, took them in the library to see the quiet spaces and the cafes and things like that. We also talked about accommodation support, and we put all that together in a package for the students. Then in 2020, obviously, we moved to online due to the pandemic. Because it was the online offer was new, we kept it really small. We invited the students in the same way. We sent out an invite through anybody that had disclosed or contacted, and we just did a small session to talk about disabled student support and disabled student allowances. Again, not massively, not a lot of students came along to that, but the feedback was really positive. And then in 2021, we tried to sort of copy the first event by inviting other services, so the Skills Centre, the library, inclusive support, student wellbeing, all came along to those events and offered throughout the summer many sessions. I think one of the problems that we had is that we offered that many sessions that not a lot of people came to each one, and so the sessions weren't attended at all. So one of the things we definitely learned is don't offer too many sessions, because it just makes the event feel too small and not really worthwhile. So as well as the Study Ready, we have other transition services and activities at Sheffield Hallam. One of the things that came out of the Study Ready events is it highlighted to other services how disabled students could be supported. And off the back of that, the SHU Welcome Week, which is the induction events run by Sheffield Hallam, have now started including a lot of the Study Ready ideas into Welcome Week. So they've taken it on and they're showing the whole student population how students can be supported at Sheffield Hallam University. And so what we think we'll do going forward is include the disabled student support side of that within Welcome Week, so all students are getting access to that information. We also have a department called Inclusive Support, and they run information day for autistic students, and that's a day where students are invited to come in to Sheffield Hallam. This year it's on the 20th of July. They'll come along, they'll hear about the other support services at Hallam, but also hear about the things that inclusive support do for autistic students. So this includes social events, both online and on campus and off campus. So the socials have included the cafe, looking at galleries, the board game cafe, things like that. But there is also a Discord server where students can log on and talk to other students, and that's monitored by staff, but not staff don't get really involved in that, and new students will be able to access that from August. We also offer inclusive support sessions, which are one-to-one sessions for students with either autism, ADHD or mental health issues, and they can come in and sort of get used to the university on a one-to-one basis. We also work really closely with HEP, which is the Higher Education Progression Partnership, and we work putting events on. The most recent being Train the Trainer, which was an event that we went out to schools and colleges and local authorities, and we talked to people that care or educate the potential students and talk to them about disabled student support, disabled student allowances, the importance of disclosure, and also the difference between the language of schools and colleges to university. We ask all students that have disclosed to register with disabled student support, and they will get the chance to have a quick query appointment, which is a 15-minute telephone call with a disability advisor to make sure that they're doing what they need, ready in preparation for starting university. And there's a link on this page to have a look at the inclusive service, support service information for autistic students.
So some of the lessons learned in 2019, the first year that we did it, it was quite a lot of effort to put in. We didn't get very good attendance, but it did have a high impact on the students that did come. But not all students do engage with the programme. What we've learned over the last few years is that a lot of the timing is quite different for different people. So some students don't think it's for them. Maybe they don't recognise what support's available for disabled students. Maybe they think it's going to come with them from college. Maybe they're not going to come to Hallam, so they don't know whether to come until they know they're definitely coming. So there's lots of question marks about when students actually consider their transition starts. Some of the good things there that by doing the events were that we were able to highlight the support services in the university and how they can support disabled students, and so we could find out how we could signpost disabled students to their services as well. It is really important for students to get the support in place before starting, so that was another message that we could send through the Study Ready programme. Some of the things that we think we need are the student voice. So we thought it was really good to have students involved in the 2019 on-campus events, but it was really hard with the online events. So it's quite hard in the first year because people weren't used to being online a lot. And by the end, in 2021, I think students were a bit fatigued of being online. So I think a bit of a mixed model is probably something that we're going to look for in the future. And the next step, so we really have made quite a lot of progress in embedding disability support and signposting through the other support services and through our induction programme, which is called Welcome Week. So we'll continue to do that and try and get our information in as many promotional materials as possible. We do recognise that some students, the timing is important for when they approach us, so they don't think it's important until it's important. So we'll be running more regular study ready sessions throughout the year. This will also support our students that are on different courses that don't come in the normal intakes, particularly the rising apprenticeship students where we have several intakes a year. But we're also thinking about how we can support students coming from colleges midway through to finish the degrees or to top up degrees, and for students that might be struggling in their first or second years with staying on course. And we're going to work more closely with the Students' Union and disabled students in planning and delivery of events, because we really want the student experience to be there, and we know that students learn better from each other, and it's a really positive experience for disabled people to help other disabled people through the journey. They also listen more to other students than they listen to us. So there are next steps. I think this will be a work in progress. We've learned a lot through the journey that we've already had, and we're going to just keep continuing to try and promote our services and support students transitioning to higher education. So thanks very much for listening. If you do want to get in touch with us, our email addresses are at the beginning of this presentation. Thank you.